Now, the by-election in Prahran that I just mentioned, it could be a harbinger of election battles to come, we might hope. The Liberals took the seat, as we just said, from the Greens, largely because of Labor voters. The ALP didn't run an official candidate, but the former Labor member, Tony Lupton, ran as an independent, and he preferenced the Liberals ahead of the Greens, effectively killing the Greens off. Lupton is proud of his work, and he joins me live from Melbourne. Good to talk to you, Tony, and congratulations. I got no qualms about saying that. I mean, I think you thought you were doing the work of the Angels in trying to kill off the Greens, and I agree with you, and well done.
Well, thank you, Chris. It was a terrific result, and we're very, very pleased with the outcome. Getting rid of one potential Green from the Victorian Parliament is a community service.
You're a Labor man through and through, though. That's where you're obviously your loyalties lie in democratic socialism, the ideals of the Labor Party. But you still think you'd rather see it in Liberal hands than Green hands?
Well, yes, I'd prefer the term social democrat, Chris. But I think that yes, I think the worst possible outcome is having Greens members of Parliament, because it gives this fringe ideological group a stature that they really don't deserve, and gives a platform to the kinds of outlandish economic ideas, the outlandish social ideas, and the kind of social division that we've seen that they've been stoking since October 7, and they've played a very bad role in the terrible rise of anti-Semitism since then.
Yeah, spot on. They're not very impressed with your efforts. Here's the Victorian leader of the Greens.
Obviously, it's not the result that we had hoped for, but we had a situation where the former Labor MP and unofficial Labor candidate funnelled preferences to the Liberal Party. That's what's made the difference this time.
She's blaming you, and you'd be happy to take the credit, obviously. The big question here is whether the Labor Party can do this officially and nationally, because so many Labor MPs, in fact the overwhelming majority of them, get into federal parliament, and obviously most of the state parliaments as well, on Greens preferences.
I think one of the most interesting things to come out of Saturday's by-election, Chris, was the fact that of the people who voted for me, 70% of them preferenced the Liberal Party over the Greens. And I would say that nearly all of those people who voted for me are traditionally Labor voters. And that should send a very strong message to the Labor Party, both at a state and federal level, that Labor voters themselves are getting sick and tired of, in certain ways, assisting the Greens to have representation in our parliaments. Those people obviously wanted to rid Prahran of the Greens, and the Labor Party needs to take notice of it. I don't think that it's a question of people holding their seats because Labor needs to preference the Greens. I think the Labor Party needs to understand that it's losing support across the length and breadth of Australia because of its too close association with the Greens. And it needs to be able to stand for itself and be able to win back enough popular support to form majority governments in its own right without depending on this fringe group.
Is there any chance of that happening federally, though? Surely Labor federally relies too strongly on the Greens.
What we've seen in the last 8 weeks of this Prahran by-election campaign, Chris, is the growth of an organic movement around the idea that the Labor Party needs to put the Greens last, as well as the Liberal Party putting the Greens last. And the ongoing campaign that I'm prepared to lead is to put that message loud and clear in front of federal and state Labor so that they can't ignore it. It's a matter of principle, but in my view, it's also a matter of electoral survival.
Well done, Tony, and all power in that argument. I think it's very, very important. Thanks so much for joining us.